What if I told you the vitamin you're taking right now could be doing more harm than good? That supplement your doctor casually recommended might be exactly what's making you feel worse than you did before. Stay with me until the end, because I'm about to reveal the one vitamin combination that transformed my 68-year-old mother's health when nothing else worked, and the 4 dangerous supplements that almost landed her in the hospital last year. This isn't what the pharmaceutical companies want you to hear. Hidden dangers. I remember sitting in that cold hospital waiting room, watching the clock tick past midnight, wondering if my mother would make it through the night. The doctors were confused. Her blood work showed strange inconsistencies, unexplained inflammation, and liver values that made no sense given her otherwise healthy lifestyle. It wasn't until a specialist walked in, someone who'd spent decades researching nutritional medicine, that we finally understood what was happening. The supplements, he said, looking at the list of daily vitamins she'd been taking religiously for the past decade. This combination at these dosages is creating a perfect storm in her system. I felt my stomach drop. These were the same supplements her previous doctor had recommended, the same ones advertised as essential for seniors in those glossy magazine spreads, the same ones her friends all took without question. How could something so commonly accepted be so dangerous? That night changed everything I thought I knew about aging and nutrition. Over the next 6 months, I dove deep into research journals, spoke with biochemists, nutritionists, and gerontologists who specialize in the unique metabolic needs of people over 60. What I discovered was both enlightening and terrifying. The supplement industry has been pushing a one-size-fits-all approach that completely ignores how dramatically our body's needs change after 60. The very supplements designed to help are often causing invisible damage that doesn't show up until it's almost too late. Here's what shocked me most. After age 60, your body processes vitamins and minerals fundamentally differently than it did even in your 50s. The metabolic pathways change, absorption rates drop, excretion mechanisms slow down, and certain combinations that were once helpful can become actively harmful. Yet how many doctors actually adjust their recommendations based on this crucial shift? In my experience, very few. Invisible impact. Let me be clear about something. This isn't some conspiracy theory. The science is real and it's been documented in medical journals for years. But there's a disconnect between cutting-edge research and what actually makes it into everyday medical practice. Your doctor isn't deliberately keeping information from you. They're overwhelmed, seeing 30 patients a day, with barely enough time to keep up with the latest research in every medical specialty. That's why I'm sharing this information today. Not to frighten you, but to empower you, because knowledge truly is power, especially when it comes to your health after 60. The changes you make today, based on what I'm about to share, could literally add quality years to your life. I've seen it happen with my mother, who at 73 now has more energy than she did at 65, sleeps better than she has in decades, and most importantly, feels clear-headed and present in her daily life. Before I reveal the specific vitamins to avoid and embrace, I want you to understand a fundamental truth about aging that changed everything for me. Aging isn't just about what breaks down in your body, it's about what builds up. Over decades, subtle toxins, inflammation triggers, and metabolic byproducts accumulate. Your liver and kidneys, which once efficiently cleared these substances, gradually slow down. This means anything you put into your body, including vitamins and supplements, stays in your system longer, interacting in ways that younger bodies simply don't experience. When my mother's specialist explained this to us, it was like a light bulb moment. Suddenly, her symptoms made perfect sense. The brain fog wasn't dementia starting, it was vitamin toxicity. The joint pain wasn't just arthritis, it was inflammation triggered by supplement interactions. The fatigue wasn't inevitable aging, it was her body working overtime to process synthetic compounds it could no longer effectively eliminate. Truth revealed. Now, let's talk about the 4 dangerous vitamins you should absolutely avoid after 60. And remember, this advice comes from extensive research and consultation with specialists in aging medicine, not from someone trying to sell you a replacement product. The first dangerous supplement, high-dose vitamin A as retinol. This one shocked me because it's in practically every multivitamin on the market. Here's the problem. After 60, your liver becomes less efficient at processing vitamin A, leading to potential toxicity even at doses considered safe for younger adults. When vitamin A accumulates, it can damage your liver, cause bone pain, and even trigger hair loss. What's worse is that many seniors already get sufficient vitamin A from their diets, especially if they eat eggs, butter, or liver occasionally. The synthetic retinol in supplements is much more potent and potentially harmful than the natural forms found in food. My mother was taking a senior formula multivitamin with 5,000 IU of vitamin A daily, plus eating vitamin A-rich foods. Her body simply couldn't process it all, and it was silently damaging her liver for years before we caught it. If you're over 60, you should either avoid supplemental vitamin A completely or ensure you're taking it as beta-carotene, which the body converts to vitamin A only when needed, preventing toxicity, and never exceed 2,500 IU daily unless specifically directed by a physician who understands geriatric nutrition. The second dangerous supplement, high-dose iron. Many multivitamins contain iron by default, but after menopause, women rarely need supplemental iron. In fact, excess iron can accumulate in the heart, liver, and brain, causing significant damage over time. Iron overload has been linked to heart failure, liver disease, and diabetes, all conditions that become more common as we age. Unless you've been diagnosed with iron deficiency anemia by your doctor, you should choose supplements specifically formulated without iron after age 60. The specialist showed us my mother's ferritin levels, a measure of stored iron, and they were through the roof. Yet not one doctor had mentioned this in her annual checkups. They focused on her slightly low vitamin D, but completely missed the iron overload that was contributing to her heart palpitations and fatigue. Within 3 months of stopping iron supplementation, her energy levels improved dramatically. This simple change made more difference than years of taking energy-boosting supplements that cost her hundreds of dollars. The third dangerous supplement, high-dose vitamin E as synthetic alpha-tocopherol. Most supplements contain only alpha-tocopherol, a synthetic form of vitamin E that can actually block the beneficial effects of the 7 other natural vitamin E compounds. Multiple large-scale studies have shown that high-dose synthetic vitamin E supplementation is associated with increased risk of stroke and, in some cases, higher overall mortality in older adults. Yet it's still added to countless heart health and anti-aging formulas marketed specifically to seniors. My mother's previous cardiologist had actually recommended vitamin E for heart health. We later learned that natural vitamin E from food sources like nuts, seeds, and olive oil provides protective benefits without the risks of synthetic supplements. If you do need vitamin E supplementation, look for mixed tocopherols and tocotrienols in moderate doses, not the isolated alpha-tocopherol that dominates the market. The fourth dangerous supplement, megadose vitamin B6. This one is particularly insidious because B vitamins are generally considered safe. However, long-term use of B6 at doses exceeding 100 mg daily can cause severe peripheral neuropathy, nerve damage that causes pain, numbness, and tingling in the extremities. What's worse, these symptoms can sometimes be permanent even after stopping the supplement. Many B-complex vitamins and energy formulas contain B6 at 50-100 milliliters per dose, and seniors taking multiple supplements may unknowingly consume dangerous amounts. My mother had been taking a B-complex for years that contained 75 milliliters of B6, plus it was in her multivitamin at 25 milliliters. The tingling in her fingers that her regular doctor dismissed as probably arthritis disappeared completely within weeks of adjusting her B6 intake. The body simply cannot use these excessive amounts, especially as kidney function naturally declines with age. For most people over 60, 1.5 to 1.7 milliliters of B6 daily is sufficient. That's about 2% of what many supplements provide. Vital knowledge. Now that we've covered what to avoid, let's talk about the 4 supplements that research shows can make a genuine, measurable difference in your health and longevity after 60. These aren't random recommendations. They're based on documented deficiencies common in aging populations and nutrients that become more crucial as our bodies change. The first essential supplement, properly dosed vitamin D3 with K2. This combination is absolutely critical after 60, when your skin becomes less efficient at producing vitamin D from sunlight, and vitamin D receptors throughout your body become less responsive. Vitamin D deficiency affects over 80% of seniors and contributes to bone loss, immune dysfunction, mood disorders, and even cognitive decline. The key is taking it with vitamin K2, which ensures calcium activated by vitamin D goes to your bones instead of your arteries, where it can cause hardening and calcification. When my mother's new specialist tested her vitamin D levels, they were at 19 ng/ml, severely deficient despite taking a standard multivitamin with 400 IU daily. He prescribed 5,000 IU of D3 with 100 mg/cg of K2 daily for 3 months, then reduced to a maintenance dose of 2,000 IU with K2. Within 6 weeks, her persistent body aches diminished, her sleep improved, and most surprisingly, the seasonal depression she'd struggled with for years lifted significantly. Proper vitamin D supplementation quite literally brought light back into her life. The second essential supplement, magnesium glycinate or magnesium malate. Magnesium deficiency affects an estimated 70–80% of older adults and is linked to heart arrhythmias, insulin resistance, sleep disturbances, muscle cramps, and anxiety. Standard blood tests often miss magnesium deficiency because they measure serum levels, not cellular levels where magnesium actually functions. Most multivitamins contain magnesium oxide, which is poorly absorbed and often causes digestive discomfort. My mother switched to magnesium glycinate at 300 mg daily, taken in the evening. The chronic leg cramps that had woken her nightly for years disappeared within a week. Her heart palpitations, which multiple cardiologists had dismissed as benign, reduced dramatically. Most surprisingly, her blood sugar stability improved, reducing the afternoon crashes that had led her to rely on constant snacking. Magnesium truly is the unsung hero of minerals, especially for cardiovascular health after 60. The third essential supplement, methylated B vitamins, particularly B12 as methylcobalamin and folate as methylfolate. After 60, stomach acid production naturally decreases, making it harder to extract B12 from food. Additionally, an estimated 40% of people have genetic variations that make it difficult to convert standard B vitamins into their active forms. This can lead to elevated homocysteine, a significant risk factor for heart disease, stroke, and cognitive decline. The fourth essential supplement, omega-3 fatty acids from a purified third-party tested source. The anti-inflammatory benefits of omega-3s become increasingly important after 60, when chronic low-grade inflammation drives many aging-related conditions from arthritis to cognitive decline. Studies show that most Americans have an omega-6 to omega-3 ratio of about 20.1, when the ideal for reducing inflammation is closer to 4.1. Supplementation can help correct this imbalance when diet alone isn't sufficient. For my mother, adding 2,000 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA daily was transformative for her joint pain. The arthritis in her hands, which had made her favorite hobbies increasingly difficult, became noticeably less inflamed within 2 months. Her skin, which had become increasingly dry and irritated with age, improved in texture and moisture, and follow-up testing showed improvements in her triglycerides and other cardiovascular markers. Quality matters tremendously with omega-3s. Many supplements on the market are rancid or contaminated with heavy metals, so third-party testing is essential. Personal transformation. Let me share something deeply personal. Watching my vibrant, intelligent mother slowly decline in her 60s was one of the most painful experiences of my life. It wasn't just the physical symptoms, it was seeing her personality dim, her confidence erode, her joy diminish, as she accepted these changes as just part of getting older. The most heartbreaking moment came when she forgot the names of her own grandchildren during a family gathering. She laughed it off, but I saw the fear in her eyes. She thought she was losing herself. That's why what happened next feels almost miraculous to our family. Within 6 months of implementing these supplement changes, eliminating the harmful ones and carefully adding the beneficial ones, she became present again, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. The transformation wasn't instant, and it wasn't just the supplements. We also addressed sleep quality, gentle movement, and stress management. But the nutritional foundation made everything else possible. At 73, she now walks 3 miles daily, remembers details from conversations weeks ago, sleeps soundly without medication, and most importantly, has reclaimed her sense of possibility about the future. When her friends comment on her energy and clarity, she shares what she's learned, but most are skeptically attached to their existing supplement regimens. That's why I'm sharing this information today, because what happened to my mother is happening to millions of others, and it doesn't have to be this way. I want to emphasize something crucial. These changes aren't about adding years to life at any cost. They're about adding life to years. They're about maintaining independence, mental clarity, emotional well-being, and physical capability as you age. Because aging shouldn't mean suffering, and it shouldn't mean losing yourself. With the right knowledge and support, your 60s, 70s, and beyond can be some of the most fulfilling years of your life. Inner wisdom. There's a deeper truth here that transcends specific supplements or health protocols. As we age, the wisdom we need most is learning to listen to our bodies differently. The signals change, the needs shift. What worked at 40 rarely works the same at 70. But our medical system hasn't fully adapted to this reality. It still largely treats aging bodies like younger ones, just with more medication to mask symptoms rather than address root causes. My mother's journey taught me that true health after 60 isn't found in fighting against aging, but in working with it, understanding the unique needs of a body with decades of life experience. And sometimes that means letting go of conventional wisdom, even when it comes from authority figures we've trusted our whole lives. Her primary care physician still occasionally raises eyebrows at her supplement protocol, but he can't argue with her lab results or her evident vitality. The 4 dangerous supplements I've outlined, high-dose vitamin A as retinol, unnecessary iron, synthetic alpha-tocopherol vitamin E, and megadose B6, represent outdated approaches that don't account for how aging changes our biochemistry. The 4 essential supplements, vitamin D3 with K2, magnesium glycinate, methylated B vitamins, and purified omega-3s, reflect our evolving understanding of nutritional needs through different life stages. But there's something even more fundamental at stake here. It's about agency over your own health journey. It's about questioning one-size-fits-all recommendations and understanding that your body at this stage of life deserves specialized knowledge and care. It's about recognizing that the last third of life doesn't have to be a steady decline. It can be a period of stability, wisdom, and even renewal when supported correctly. Vital decision. I can still picture my mother's face the day she realized she could trust her mind again. We were working on a crossword puzzle, something she'd loved but had given up because finding words had become too frustrating. That afternoon, the words flowed easily. She looked up with tears in her eyes and said, "I thought I was disappearing. I thought this was just what happens." That moment changed both our lives. It ignited my passion for understanding how nutrition affects aging and her determination to never again accept needless decline as inevitable. The most powerful realization through this journey has been understanding that much of what we attribute to normal aging is actually the result of decades of subtle nutritional imbalances compounded over time. Correcting these imbalances doesn't reverse aging, nothing can or should, but it can remove unnecessary obstacles to experiencing aging with dignity, clarity, and joy. Your body knows how to age healthfully when given the right support. I've shared this information not to alarm you, but to empower you. Knowledge truly is power, especially when it comes to your health after 60. The supplements you choose to take or avoid can have profound effects on your quality of life, your cognitive function, and your emotional well-being in the coming decades. These aren't small decisions. They shape your daily experience and your capacity to remain independent and engaged with the people and activities you love. If you take nothing else from our time together today, remember this. Aging is not a disease to be fought, but a natural process to be supported wisely. The goal isn't to look or feel 40 again. That creates frustration and disappointment. The goal is to be the healthiest, most vibrant version of yourself at whatever age you are now. That's what these supplement adjustments facilitate. Not turning back time, but making the most of the present moment with a body and mind that function optimally for this stage of life.